we try to help them. We used to have no issue with the passports after some time. Now the problem was we have a new regime where we have to change our machines, and the passports are right now processed in Uganda, but very soon the services will come back to DC, and you know, the maximum it used to take was 3 days. You stay in your state, you send your thing, 3 days you have your passport. That time that will also come. Even today, with the current status, still people are getting their passports. On occasion of UNAA, we always bring the services to you. Right now, we have a team on 4th floor that is processing people who are applying for national identity cards. And those who want to ask any question on immigration matters, their desks there, we have brought them, including a team from immigration in Kampala, they are there. What do all those mean? It means your government cares. It cares. Those are 2 things. The 3rd thing why we have this as a big program, as a strategic program, is because we know you are in these countries, you are able, you are able to save. How can we work with you so that you can also be part of the teams that engage in the socio-economic development of Uganda? In other words, how can you do business with your country of origin? This is one of the things which we are setting up. How can you are here in corporate America, how can you take this accolade you have seen here? How can you take it to Uganda? How can you join resources to do significant things in Uganda? Government is establishing over 20 industrial parks. I think 4 of them are now built up, others are there. Government is ready to get space for all those that are organized to do business in those industrial parks. If it means housing estates, that can be done. Government can help people who are organized to do business, or even to enhance themselves in terms of having accommodation when you go to Uganda. So that is something we as embassy, we as Ugandan government want to interact with you. We have a desk there, a commercial and economic diplomacy desk. There's information there. We have a lot of data there. All the people who, and I was very happy to find people doing wonderful things. There's this company, these people who have been involved in laying under cable from Russia to Kampala onwards to Kigali, you know. That's big business, and they are here. What do they want? They want people who can work. That's also good news, that there are jobs available for such people. So we want to engage with the diaspora as a government. Now, that is Uganda government. We are collaborating with the US government. The U State Department determined that how can you boost economic relations between the United States and Uganda. And they identified that one of the resources we can use is the diaspora. And that program is there. The ambassador of the US addressed us yesterday, and she mentioned the platforms available. US under the Development Finance Corporation has put aside a fund of 60 billion US dollars, which Americans can access to do business with their countries of origin. They think you can get good vehicle. So these programs, we are promoting them jointly with the United States. And if you, those who can visit our desk, they'll find other programs, our Africa, AGOA, all that. How can we work with you to promote these programs? We have Ndiro Coffee here. Ndiro Coffee, they have established cafes in Uganda. They have a cafe in Aurora and a roastery. They sell coffee online. There is another company which is exhibiting here, Inspire Africa Coffee. We have a capping event at my embassy in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday and Wednesday. Yes, on Wednesday. Now, all those things bring some message. For coffee, for agricultural things, you are better off to access the money from that cup, not from the. So the lucrative money is on that cup. As in Uganda, do we have something after you have put your coffee in the cup? Is there something for us? Now, you can only have something if you are here, if the business, you invest in the business here, which is what Ndiro is doing. And we are encouraging the diaspora. You can be in video. Somebody say, yes, you have a engineer, you can come together and say, please start, put a cafe in each of these places. Let's work with the system from Uganda. That's how the Starbucks started. And then you can move on. So we want that relationship to prosper. Now, the politics. I said at the beginning that whatever guides us is prescribed, is done in the Constitution. governance, democracy, human rights, all those are there. Now, how do people go into leadership? They go into contests. You go into contest, you want to lead Uganda, you want to be MVP, you contest. And you ask for votes, they give you, or they don't give you. To be a political leader in Uganda, that's the system you must go through. There is no other way. You cannot go on TV and say, oh, it's one million. You have to go and ask for votes. People give you. One of the things that I have been explaining in America, and which has excited people, including congressmen, is how we conduct our elections. In fact, people say, oh, these elections are rigged. No, you don't know. Because you have a polling station. Each party has an agent. Then, Katende comes to vote. He must show his card. This card must be seen by all the agents. And they say, yes, he qualified to vote. They give you a vote. You go. You don't go to a booth. No. You go there in the middle of the basement. When everybody sees you, it's nothing. Nobody will see you touching anything. You go there, you come. Everybody in the night, they are looking at you. You go. And from the time the polling station opens, people are there. Eyes on the prize. I want people to listen to this very carefully. Because I have where I stay in Kampala, I have a polling station in my neighborhood, and I tested this. At the end of the vote, people, everybody, they are all representatives. They say we are finished now. This one, okay. This one, mentioned. This one, then they say, how many count? Everybody, all the agents are there. They count. At everybody. Benjamin Sisi go to this, Stephanie go to this, and they throw me there. They put the tally. That is the most important document at the polling station. Because you have all where you are agents. Each one gets a copy. In fact, if you get that one, you go to your party headquarters and say, my job is that, this is. So, your party headquarters now will put all this together. Should anything happen, this is what you take to court. Same. Simple. So they say, they're tallying. No. All you need to do is to make sure you are at every station. At least if you have said you want to contest, you should have people to look for. At least, because in Uganda, I don't think people have not even voted their stations. No. That is what you do. And when the results are declared, you do what? You decide. Say, have we cheated? We are our fool. You go. The Supreme Court. That is the evidence that nobody will contest because it's silent. So, what does that mean? At the last elections, President Museveni NRM, we are declared winners for the presidency and for parliament. Finish. The elections are now behind us, and the government is now on the move to implement its program. Anybody who wants to uproot this government will now go back to basics for the next election. There is no way you can say, oh, they have taken this. It will not help you. Demonstrating, it won't help. That is the only way. And it is written and clear. For us here in the diaspora, what does it mean? Just decide, is your agenda political? Go and, because the votes, now we will be coming here to vote. You bring the vote, you start mobilizing whatever you want to believe in. And if there is anything you want to change about the constitution, then you must get the support to go and simple. Last year, I've talked for long. Last year, with the United States, I have said we have got strategic programs with the United States. No amount of convincing can make the United States say, you get off this one. Go. No, nothing will happen. And the government programs are moving on. And if there is any context, anything, the courts are there. Really, the courts are there. The problem we have had is that, this court, they are like government, they are corrupt. We had, one of the parties we have is no. Used the court, and they got a ruling in their favor. They didn't talk. They went there, then they lost, I mean, why should it be in your favor all the time? I mean, if you don't convince, if you don't convince, like Bobby Wine was confined to his home, they went to court. And the court ruled that was illegal, and he was. That's what courts do. Yeah. And if it is about anything else, go to court. Don't say, this. By the way, these justices, judges are not strangers. They are people who study with you. And you relate with them. They will tell you that this one has no basis, this one has basis, this one is okay. Finish. So, lastly, I know I've taken long. Lastly, I think for me, my appeal is that let us listen to each other as Ugandans, as Ugandan diaspora. Very important that we listen to each other. I want me as ambassador, someone to come like we are here. We listen. Your view, and I take it back. Also listen to me. Because there is this thing of, I watched this event you have in Boston. There was this guy of Noop, there was another one of FDC, and they almost fought on the TV. This is a TV on YouTube. Huh? They were almost fighting. Why? The other guy of FD said, you think everything must be you. You don't want others. Others are not right. it's important that we listen to each other. At the end of the day, we are people who are the members of what we want to be done. And that's important. For me as ambassador, I will be very happy that, you know, by the way, I am trying to provide that environment where everybody can live. There are certain things I get, I'm very true, and I send the money, things are done. That is how we can move on. Thank you very much. But if there are any questions, you will ask them. My team is also there, they will support. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Ambassador Mokatende. Please, let's put another round of applause to Ambassador. I'm going to request that you stay here for the questions. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the Ambassador just said something that is very, very important, which is dear to me. He said, first of all, we are extending for 1 hour. Thanks to the Chairman Board of Trustees for UNAA. We are in the interest of you so that we can have this dialogue. Because it doesn't make any sense for you to come here and only listen to the ambassador without you at least having this dialogue. But he said something that's very important. He said, we are here, but remember one thing in Ugandans. And that reminded me of the year 2007. As a new young officer, I walked into Walmart in Virginia. And this old lady, I think she was a young lady in her 90s, she looked at my uniform and she asked me, what type of a name is this? And I said, ma'am, it's an African name. And she did not use the words nice. We were in a group of officers coming out, and she says, do they allow Africans in our army? And everybody else was embarrassed because of me. And I said, yes, ma'am. And she says, that is why the United States is after. And I said to her, ma'am, may God bless you. Because what I'm telling you that is what exactly the ambassador said. It's back in Uganda, back home, regardless of what we do here, is where we're VIPs. And that we should treasure that. It as Africans and Black people. So we should, whatever we do, just remember that. I'm going to ask that we are very respectful, and I want to thank you, by the way, for the way you conducted yourselves here. Everyone is quiet, you listen to the points, and the ambassador has given us very good points. At this time, this is how we're going to go. I'm going to call Honorary Council Jack Ellis. He's going to come and address us for 5 minutes. Then I'll hand over to my colleague, Mark Kulue, and from that time, we will engage the audience. Probably use a minute or two, because we want to get to hear from everyone else. You ask, state a point, ask a question, be precise, and then we can move on. If the question is addressed to the ambassador, make it clear, and if it's been asked before, please don't repeat that. But let's observe the time. We have an hour, and I believe the number we have will be okay. So I'm going to ask Ambassador Jack, Honorary Council Jack Ellis, let me say a few words about him. But this is the man. Yes.
This is the United States. If you have a chance, you need to raise the American flag. Only the state of Texas has flag the same. So if you get something, raise it up.
Okay.
We are recording these things on video.
Okay. Okay.
Raise it a little bit.
I'm going to ask Mr. Gama. Okay, he's going to handle that. Before Jack, Council Jack comes up, let me tell you about him. In 2007, 2006, Jack came to Uganda. He came on a delegation of Black mayors in the United States. We took him to Kalangala, Sisi Islands, and that's where I'm from. I'm a Kalangala. I'm a man from Kalangala, Sisi Islands. I started a non-profit organization, medical, Sese Islands African AIDS Project, giving free treatment to HIV/AIDS patients. Jack was so inspired that he came back and mobilized the resources back here in the United States. And as I speak, they have the largest logging facility in modern in Kalangala, providing jobs and services to our people, and also making money. And also he can bring more people back and forth. So I wanted you to hear about him, and he's the former mayor of Macon, Georgia.
Thank you, Major, to the illustrious ambassador, to my colleague, the ambassador, the honorary consul from Dallas. So good to see you again. And good to see so many of you, and to the moderator. I don't do politics anymore, but I understand that I am in a political environment because I'm appointed by this government to represent it as its honorary consul in the state of Georgia. And I've taken on the added responsibility because we don't have one in South Carolina and Alabama, which is near me, and I service those with them whenever they call, so there I service them as well. But let me say one thing about this ambassador. I have, Frank, I appreciate the kind words, but one correction, as they say. My first time going to Uganda was in 2001. I was sent by my first time going to Kalanga, he's right, was 2005, I think 2006. But the first time I went to Uganda was 2001. I was sent there by the US government, the State Department, and the CDC. I led a delegation of mayors there, white and black mayors, of urban cities, because we wanted to see how Uganda was so successful in reducing the prevalence of HIV/AIDS. It had gone from 30% to 6%, which is phenomenal. And the CDC and the State Department want to know how we could adopt what had happened in Uganda and put it to use in American cities where HIV and AIDS was on the incline, especially in the African American community, especially in African American females. So I came back with the ABC method. I was really excited. Went back to the first black mayor of my town and the 200-year history of it. I went back and I held a press conference and said, I have the key to this AIDS thing. I just discovered in Uganda, it's ABC. Abstain, be faithful, and use a condom. Boy, they went crazy. Oh, the mayor wanted to give a condom to our children, and I'd run him out of here. But anyway, that was my first time, and I loved it so much. And I did organize black mayors to go back and create relationships with the mayors there to share ideas and different things. But let me say about this ambassador, I worked with 3 ambassadors, he's the 3rd one. He's supposed the most accessible. As he said, he's like a receptionist. When you call him, he answers. If he doesn't answer, he will return your call and he will make things happen. For instance, Frank, Major, you would appreciate this. Recently, the Air Force Command and General Staff College at Montgomery, Alabama, these are colonels and people getting ready to be generals, and they had called me and said, we're doing a study, we're doing a course on, we picked the country from Africa, and we picked Uganda. And we're going to come to Macon, and we want to talk to you about what's going on in Uganda. And they gave me some of the questions they wanted, and I said, no, you're not going to bring me down that. I would talk to the ambassador. The ambassador couldn't come, but we arranged a Zoom call, and he had a meeting with all of those officers, those colonels who were getting ready to be generals, and he answered every one of their questions. They had some tough questions about the political situation, about gays and so forth and so on, but he didn't shy away from any of it, but they were so impressed with his presentation. And I think they sent you a letter of appreciation. I know they told me they were, but we appreciate your leadership and appreciate your accessibility to people. Now, having said that, some of the things that I work on, I try to limit myself to 4 different areas. I recently was there, I spent 7 months in Uganda last year. I wanted to see what was going on during the pandemic for myself. I went in August, came back in March. And I went back again, and this year in July, I just came back 2 weeks ago. And I took a medical team with me this time. but the problem I had, here again, the ambassador had to intervene, because now when you take doctors to Uganda, before you could just take a doctor, he could go there and start doing, he or she could start doing work. That's no longer the case. You got to have a license to practice medicine in Uganda, and you have to have a license from Uganda. And that license costs X amount of dollars, and it takes time to get it. So you can't just show up as a medical doctor from America, even though you from Johns Hopkins and the top universities or medical schools, and you're a great professor, and you're a great surgeon. You still got to get a certificate from Uganda. You have to pay for it. You have to get a license. It's good for a year. But I called the ambassador. I said, we got a problem. We're leaving next week, and my man doesn't have a license, and all the other doctors can practice under his license. He intervened, talked to the people in Uganda, and when he got there, we had his license, and we were able to carry out our mission on Kalangala. We saw 600 patients there, and left $5,000 worth of medicine behind. So I focus on medicine, and education is another one. In the state of Georgia, I try to create relationships with universities. For instance, Mercer University, which is the medical school, is in my hometown, a great university, just signed an MOU. We had the president of Ugandan Christian University before COVID to come, sign an MOU that we will share telemedicine. Professors can talk to the young students there at Ugandan Christian University. They're their third year now of medical school. And we went to MedShare. I don't know if you've ever heard of MedShare. MedShare is a place in Atlanta that gives away medical supplies. I mean, the warehouse is big as this whole hotel, and they have nothing but good medical supplies. And we organized a container, and they paid for it. And I just got a call from the Vice Chancellor of Ugandan Christian University about a month ago. In fact, I was in Uganda when he called me. He didn't realize I was in Uganda, thanking me that the trailer finally showed up full of medical supplies, free of charge, to Ugandan Christian University. So I try to work on things like that. But I'm also a freelance journalist. In addition to being a former politician, a political strategist, I'm a freelance journalist. So last year I interviewed Bobby Wine, but I wanted to interview the president, but I couldn't interview him. And I just got back, I interviewed the Minister of Tourism. If you want to see both of those interviews, he mentioned YouTube. We have a YouTube channel called, but it airs in the Georgia area, but I'll put it on YouTube. It's called the Middle Georgia Spotlight. The Middle Georgia Spotlight with Jack Ellis. You can Google, you can see the show there, both with the Ugandan Tourism Board CEO. I just interviewed her, and she shared so much good information as to what's going on now and what you all can do, and what we can do in the diaspora, all of us, to get more people to come to Uganda. I mean, tourism is about 7% of the GDP prior to COVID, but now it's 80 to 90% down. So that means 90% of the people that used to work in tourism are not working anymore. And how they're surviving, they're not. Even our place on the island, where we're really suffering, but we try to keep our people employed and try to keep paying them a couple $100,000 a month, so that when it does come back, we don't have to run out and try to find people again. We have trained people, so we try to keep them going on. So we focus on tourism, and agriculture is another big one. I've had the people from MADS, now they call it Wealth Creation, and had them to come to our Georgia's, the #1 product in Georgia is still agriculture. Even though Coca-Cola headquarters is there, Delta Airlines is there, CNN is there, CDC, and all this other great stuff is there. 5 or 6 Fortune 500 companies have their headquarters there, but the #1 industry in Georgia is agriculture to this day. So we work with the University of Georgia, Abraham Baldwin College, to have the people from there to come visit prior to this ambassador coming. And we signed MOUs with Fort Valley State University, Abraham Baldwin University, and trying to get the University of Georgia to implement an irrigation system that will make sure that we won't have droughts anymore, because we have all the water we need. We just can't get the water to the farms. So that Lake Victoria is there, The lakes are there, the rivers are there, so we have all the fresh water we need, so it should never be a drought in terms of farms in Uganda. It should never. We just got to find a way to get the water to the farms, to irrigate, and you can get 2 or 3 crops a year in Uganda, so that makes it very, very unique indeed, so we are focusing on that. But the number one thing that I've been working on now, but sports, and congratulations. Give yourselves a hand for this gold medalist. This guy that's, as a matter of fact, we used one of, if you Google the interview that I did with the CEO of tourism, we used a 90-second commercial in that episode of this gentleman that won the gold medal showing you Uganda, running through Uganda. So it's a great thing there. So that's very good. For instance, the island of Kalangala is probably, Bugala, is probably one of the most beautiful islands I know. I mean, it's the 10th largest lake island in the world. The 10th largest in the world. That's a big lake island. It's larger than the island of St. Croix, the U.S. Virgin Islands in the Caribbean, where I lived for 8 years. And so this island is larger than that, beautiful than that. But my point is, we don't have the water sports that we need. The Olympics just happened. We should have had the #1 rowing team in the Olympics. So we're going to put a rowing team there. We need your help. We're going to train children how to row and to compete in the Olympics, because that is that area of I don't know how many of you have been to Bugala, but that bay in Bugala Island, on the side where the ship comes in from Entebbe, that is one of the most year-round they can train. We can put a training facility there. We're going to work with the Olympic Committee, the IOC, and the Ugandan Olympic Committee to make sure that we get the equipment, and I'm working on it now, some people to put together, get the equipment, and start teaching children how to row. And then we'll be in the Olympics game next time. Why not? And we're going to be. But I'll tell you what I'm working on right now, and my time is running out. Because we're looking for investment. My portfolio tells me, don't stay away from politics, investment, get people to go there, try to make sure. A lot of people call me about visas, I just told to go to. But I also tell them you can get a visa upon arrival. And you can still get a visa upon arrival. Since when? When did that start? Yeah, you can get a visa upon arrival. I was just there 2 weeks ago, and somebody went with me and got one upon arrival. Matter of fact, my son went with me, and he got it when he got there. Yeah. No, but they didn't. I'm telling you, when we got to the airport, I had 3 doctors with me and my son, and they all got their visas. That was a month ago. That was the 8th of July. But maybe it's the last one, okay. Okay, well, let me not say that again. Strike that from the record. But let me say one thing in closing. As you know, American gold and precious metals in Uganda can only be owned by Ugandans. Ugandans must own their license to extract them. Uganda must own 51%. But I know a person that has a license, came to me to look for investors, wanted to sell me the 49%, which is good. So I bought the 49%, not really. I didn't put the money, but I said, well, find someone for 49%. Gold right now, and the ambassador will attest to that, and the economist will attest to that as well, is the #1 import and the #1 export from Uganda today. Because we're bringing gold from Zimbabwe and other places, refining it there and sending it out again, and we're also digging our own gold, refining it. So the #1 import and the #1 export is gold. So if anyone is interested, I have a gold license, a license to mine gold, up in the Hoima district. I'm pronouncing that wrong. And it's for sale, or it's for investment. So if you're interested in gold business, and you should start looking at trying to partner with people with those licenses without the resources to get the gold out of the ground, so the South Africans won't come up. They've offered this person $200,000 for a license that says it has $225 million worth of gold in this particular area. But in addition to gold, there's cobalt, there's coltan, there's granite, and people even try to bottle rocks from the place to grind them up to build roads because they're sandstone rocks, and that's what they use to build roads. The Chinese trying to buy it. I said, we don't let the Chinese come get the rocks, because maybe they'll take gold as well. You don't know what they're taking. So if you're interested in gold, I have a gold license that's bona fide, geologically satisfied, and authenticated by the geologist department of the Ugandan government department. That is there. The gold is there. So I work on things of that nature. But as I said, all politics are local, so I'm going to be quiet and sit down and say that it's a pleasure to serve Uganda. And I got scared. Ambassador, he said the State Department is kind of slow. My credentials expired the last time I was there. And I showed my ID, and the guy at the airport said, this thing is expired. I said, wait a minute, I've been there. So I called the ambassadors, don't worry about it, you're taken care of. So I had to call Henry Okola, what is the permanent secretary for foreign minister? And he said, don't worry about it. I'll come by here and get a letter, and we'll make sure you get taken care of. I didn't get the letter, but I wasn't harassed anymore. The ambassador assured me that everything is taken care of. So I look forward to serving you and serving the people of Uganda. And I serve at the pleasure of this government. Even though I'm not part of the government, I represent Uganda, no matter who the president is. But I'm appointed, I'm smart enough to know, and been in politics long enough to know what side my bread is buttered. And I try to make sure that I stay in my lane. Stay in my lane. For instance, I shared this with you. You would appreciate this, and I'll be quiet. I wanted to see, like I said, I've been in politics for a while. I managed Jesse Jackson's campaign from the state of Georgia in 1988. I ran successful myself, two-term, first time African-American mayor of my city. So I think I know a little bit about politics. So I wanted to be with these two candidates on the island that's running. A young man, Leon, what is his name, he's running for the first time, an independent. So I think I'm okay. I'm not with a party, he's independent. But I also wanted to see this young lady who was running for an MP. So I stayed with that campaign and traveled to all the island, went on these little boats and every place. And of course, some people took issue with that. Why was they thought I was advising them. I wasn't advising them, I was an unofficial observer of how they would run their campaigns. And maybe I did give advice to Leon a couple of times because he's a good friend. But I understand that I don't do politics, and I don't plan on doing politics. I've written editorials. I do a television program, and I talk about Uganda. I take positions, not contrary to this government. I'm smart enough to do that. Matter of fact, I wrote President Obama a letter that was published in several newspapers, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, my newspaper, asking him in 2012 to talk to President Museveni. When you start formulating African policies, you need to talk, especially on East Africa, because Uganda is still at the tip of the spear in Somalia. You still have 7,000 soldiers on the ground. You still are the person that stands up Sudan and talks to Sudan and makes South Sudan do right. And it's still Uganda. Uganda is still a powerful force, and this president is still a powerful force when it comes to geopolitics in the East African region, if not all of Africa, whether you like it or not. That's just a fact of the matter. So I said to President Obama, whom I worked for in this campaign after I left office, you need to talk to President Museveni. Don't listen to what these people are saying about because if you want to do gay things, then you shouldn't. Wait a minute, we have a relationship with Saudi Arabia. They had it on their books forever. Forever it's been there. And if you go out in homosexual activities, they're going to punish you by death. And we have a good relationship with Saudi Arabia. So don't come with this nonsense. And he didn't listen. Had he listened to me, he would listen to the AU. He would listen to our ambassador when he was there. and they would not have done what happened in Libya. They were listening to the AU, and we would have a different outcome in Libya as to them listening to the Arab League, and we know what happened there. Thank you very much. Good to be with you.
Thank you. Jack is always a very inspirational figure in all of these forums. With due respect, those are their personal views. The ambassador, of course, represents the government of Uganda, the Republic of Uganda, and the government of Uganda. And like I said before, just want to make sure I'm clear. I'm a serving U.S. Army officer at the rank of major, and my participation here is purely on the Uganda North American Association, and it's got nothing to do with the U.S. government or the U.S. Army. So with that, I am going to request that we go into the dialogue, whereby you are going to be given an opportunity to ask a question, make a comment, just make it brief. And at this time, I'm going to hand over the mic to my brother, my colleague, Mike Kaluya, so that first he can tell about himself, so that you know about him, and then we'll go to you. We probably will start with the lady, then you go mix, lady first, then man, lady, like that. That's how we're going to go for the next session. And the ambassador and our council, they're here, they answer questions. And if they are not, if the question is related to UNAA, the chairman of the OT is here, he will be able to answer those. And with that, let's proceed.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Michael Kaluya. Some people call me Dr. Kaluya, Professor Kaluya, Mr. Kaluya, Mike, whatever you can call me. I come from Texas, and I've been in Texas since the year 1998, when I came to this country as a young man to start school. I went through all school until a doctorate of business administration in economics, particularly in economic development. I teach economics, and I also happen to be an associate dean heading the Department of Business at Tarrant County College. I'm not representing Tarrant County College at this moment. I'm here as a Ugandan, and I've done a lot of these political forums, and with all protocol observed, Your Excellency Ambassador, it is through these political forums, and some of them that I was able to moderate, that some of the results that we see about the dual citizenship, and particularly the reduction in the fees of the dual citizenship were implemented. The other thing is the visa fees as well, which was $100, was also reduced to $50. That was as a result of some of this political forum. The other thing you hinted on that we've been pressing in the political forum is voting rights for the diasporas. And for those of you who came in late, our ambassador, His Excellency Ambassador Katende, said that we are going to start doing the voting very soon. I hope this is coming in the election for 2026, because we don't have any other national or major election that is coming anytime soon until 2026. But I also wanted to just let you know that part of my dissertation study, I investigated the perception of corruption between civil servants and citizens of Uganda. And one of my major recommendations was the issue of the national ID. Though people have not told you, or they have not mentioned to you, the reason why the national ID is very, very important is one of my recommendations. So I'll urge you, each and every person here in the diaspora who wants to do business in Uganda, to please get a national ID, because it's going to be very part and parcel of day-to-day doing business. After defending my dissertation, I went down to Uganda, knowing what I did, and I got my national ID. And before you know it, the IGG sends me a message, because I was working closely with them, telling me that, oh, most of your recommendations are being put into consideration, and we are going to use them. Some of you have heard of what they call the corruption week, where the people move from all through town and go to Corolla and so on. Those are part of the recommendations to make awareness of corruption in the country, and how we can avoid it or prevent it or reduce it. I don't want to take much time. I want to give us time to interact with the ambassador and the colleagues up here on what is pressing you. I will begin on my side, basically. Your Excellency, you mentioned about the $60 billion that the US government has put aside for the diasporans to tap into as a way of revamping the economic development of their indigenous countries. That, I think that is a very good thing, but I wanted to know if that is going to be a loan or a grant that American citizens can actually access. And if it's a grant, I'm going to be one of those people that are actually going to make an application and do that, because I know what can actually create jobs. In Uganda, I'm doing it with my little savings right now, but I can also do it with grants. So, Your Excellency, would that be a grant or a loan? Yeah, so that is one question. So we are going to gather questions, and then we'll give the ambassador one time at least, or for now, after the questions come in, and then you'll be able to respond to those. Mr. Gava has the mic. Ladies first, yes.
Thanks so much. My name is Grace from Boston, Massachusetts. My question goes to the ambassador because there is no government official from Kampala. And it's a general question about UNAA or politicization of UNAA. As you all know, UNAA was started as an independent organization by and for Ugandans living in the diaspora, USA and Canada. With time, government of Uganda got interested in it, and they got involved and started expanding it. Right now, they send $100,000 annually, an issue which has been very divisive and contentious. So I'll be very brief. It's about the elections. So 2 years ago, after the elections in Chicago, the president of Uganda was quoted as congratulating the candidate who won the elections, Ms. Naimura, and also bragging that he had sent a team to help her win the elections, and he was very happy about it. And we know that Ugandans have been very uncomfortable with what I'm going to call politicization of UNAA, of government involvement in UNAA activities. And this has drawn away a number of Ugandans in the US. So fast forward to this year, the elections, of course, have been very contentious. The campaigns. And there were rumors of government finding a particular candidate. So there's a document which leaked to the media. I think some of you have seen it, where the Secretary General of the NRM, Richard Todom, who is also, we know the NRM is the party in power. So this document, Mr. Todom was authorizing $110,000 to be dispatched to the camp of one candidate to help her to facilitate her election, her campaigns, and also help her in the general campaign. So my question to the ambassador, is it fair that government of Uganda should be funding a particular candidate Aren't you compromising the independence of UNA, which is supposed, UNA is supposed to be an independent organization. So when we see government or the president or the ruling party directly funding one camp or one candidate, aren't you compromising the independence of UNA? And do you think this should go on? Is this fair? Thank you so much.
You say ladies first, then a gentleman.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, and as the protocols observed. My name is Idris Chironde. The ambassador talked of voting in the diaspora. Right now, I want to know what steps has the parliament taken to gazette the diaspora as a voting center. Because you cannot vote unless it's in the constitution. You just not wake up and go vote somewhere. The other thing was the volume of calls. We have China. China is not as big as Uganda, but they have their citizens in the United States. Before Trump curtailed some of the consulates, they had 5 consulates throughout the US. Can Uganda also do so, extend the services? Because the US has 50 states. It's like there are 50 countries. You could demarcate the states in different, the US in different states, and have consulate to take care of certain states, maybe 20, 25, to extend the services other than being in one center, like on the East Coast. You could do so. There are so many Ugandans who are willing to extend the services to provide their homes or offices as consulates. Thank you.
Let's have one more question in the back there. That gentleman over there has a question as well.
Good afternoon. Actually, that was part of my question, which you took over, but my name is Awichu Akwani. The thing is, you took my question, but I want to ask about the ID, the national, the ID, the national identification card. I did register like in 2019, but up to now I've never received that ID. And when I called the embassy, they still tell me the same thing, that they don't know where the ID is and they have to call to find out about the ID. So I just want to know what's the step you want me to do. Do I have to register again in order to get a new one, or what do I do?
I think at this time we're going to give the ambassador an opportunity to respond.
Thank you. So thank you very much. Very good question. I want to thank Professor there, because there are many unsung heroes who have done things and we don't recognize them. But those things that came from you and he advanced, they were big things. So I want to thank you for that contribution. And this is the spirit why we are here. The question you may ask today may cause a breakthrough on many. So we are not here for nothing. We are here for a purpose, and everybody should feel happy. We are listening to each other. the issue of the national identity card, he mentioned curbing corruption, very, very important. And some of you who have been have noticed it. The identity card is very, very important. And yes, we have that document is very, very good. And you will see as we move on the value of it in terms of fighting corruption. Corruption has been scourged, that's true, and measures are in place really to fight it and defeat it this time. And one of the measures, use of this document, but also other measures. Now, the question of this DFC fund, you remember there was this OPIC. OPIC was a facility under the US government to promote business with other countries. There are other components under USAID. USAID was also doing some helping communities to do small businesses, small scale businesses. Now all these have been put together to create the Development Finance Corporation. And the funding is $60 billion. 60 billion US dollars. It's not to Uganda. It's for the whole world. That is for the whole world. I don't know how much money will go to Africa and how much will go to, but the fund is accessible if you have a business. It's not a grant. You know, you people are here in the United States, you know America. Money. They cannot, even what they call grants, you know, we have to pay back. So this money is a soft loan facility. If you have a business, you can go and look at the requirements. You can access it to do business with Uganda. Many people have not known about it, and that's why we keep publicizing it. I found a company somewhere in Ginger. This company is involved in jewelry, which they send to here. And it is by an American investor, and he has access to this fund, and he's doing very well. So if you have any business or if you plan to do any business, this is a platform you can access. Well aware that it is a soft law. Grace, you called grace. Yes. On politicization of UNAA. It's good you have asked this question. Recently, I hope people got what I wrote, but I was explaining the history of this grant to UNAA. These have been leaders of UNAA, they know. It was not an initiative of the Uganda government, it was not an initiative of President Museveni. It was a request by the diaspora, by UNAA actually. And the president, in his own wisdom, said, yes, but these people make a lot of remittances. Now, if they want to organize themselves, let us lift them. At that time, it was difficult to hire places like this because you did not have confidence in the association. It had to be supported. And that is what the president said, okay, you can have, initially it was $20,000. And it was coming. Later on, there was an appeal and it was increased to 50,000. Then later on, there were various chapters. They said, but UNAA is too big for us. We are in California, we can do this. We also need support. Then the decision was, okay, let's have another 50,000 to be applied for in terms of whatever you are doing. You apply to UNAA and access this fund. That is the total of 100,000 that has been coming here. Now, there has been a lot of criticism that Uganda is interfering in UNAA. Uganda is not accountable. Why don't you ask for accountability from UNAA for this fund? Where does it go? Now, this is a fund, a grant, which comes through my embassy. My responsibility is every year to forward $50,000 to UNAA for helping you with the conversion. And then the managers give me receipt that the embassy has given us $50,000 for UNAA. And that is my accountability. I do not have leverage to say, where did you spend? Because these are not my programs. That is when I would be interfering as government. Say, where did you put this money? What did you know? Once this money comes, it comes to the budget of UNAA. And it is now you members of UNAA who will ask your executives how they used this grant. I would do the same with the project money 50. The guidelines we have right now are that UNAA, people apply to UNAA, and UNAA makes decisions as to who benefits from this fund. They give us addresses of each of those projects, the bank account, the physical, and then we wire that money directly to them. And later on, they acknowledge, they give us these receipts. Where it goes, we have no leverage to say, you said you had a poultry farm in California, where the chicken, where this is not our problem. That accountability should go to UNAA executives. That's how we are keeping away from interfering with your programs. Now, 100,000 is actually the small amount of money. All of you came here, you paid some money for board, for work, and so on. That money is a lot of money. It's more than a million. When you sit in your assembly, you ask for the whole budget. Board, we give so much. How much did you pay the board? Then you see where the money Uganda government gave you 100,000. Why? How did you use it? That is you. That's your association. Now, you say about Todrom. Now, let me tell you, my sister, one of the things that has come to challenge the world is fake news. Fake news is challenging the world. And that is why when you get anything, first use other methods to find out. There are so many things. I will sit here. Social media is now, I will write anything that, I'm going to give grace. Example to reach a so the person wants to get me, but somebody else posted that. So let's be very careful. Now, you talked about the president bragging. Now, the context, it is about the context. It is the context. The essence of Uganda government, I told you, is how our interest in you are those three things I talked about. So, if those things are done, it pleases the president that these people are setting up businesses, they are sending remittances to their relatives, they are good citizens in America, they are not involved in prisons. That's good news. Everybody's happy. If the leaders who come into positions for those things, that's great. Now, the voting, you remember when the reason for proxy voting by the diaspora was made before the election. You remember? But the time was too short for the law to be put in place of operationalizing that decision. It will mean changing the constitution. That's true. And it will be changed. That's why we are now looking at 2026. By that time, the law will have been put in place and the designated places will have been mentioned. If the diaspora are going to vote, where will they vote from? What will be the polls? That will be decided. And in fact, right now, what you should be interested in is to feed into that decision. If it is about every state to have a polling station, you should now say it now, so that when Parliament comes to debate on how to operationalize this law, they have your views. Now, regarding the services, of course, United States is very big. We can only have one embassy in the United States, and we are lucky that we have two because of the UN. But even then, it's not enough. And even if we were to come to California then would say, can you come to San Diego? Can you come to San Francisco? Can you come to LA? I mean, almost say, can we come to your bedroom? I think the issue is logistical convenience. What is possible, we do it. I went to Boston. I I sent an issue. I sent my people to Boston for this issue of dual citizenship. That time we were processing them. And the team got 23 people. 3. Following week, they said, oh, when I coming back to Boston. So these are things that I will go through. But where possible, we will reach you. But we are not going to go to your village. If you will come to your village, then you'll be one of the luckiest. We will not be able. Yes. Now, Nira was supposed to come here. We are processing identity cards already here on 4th floor. We were supposed to be joined by Nira with more posted machines to make sure that we cover a bigger ground. But they have not been able to come. Now, they have said they may come after. So, when they come after, we'll find various places where they can go to, and we'll coordinate with your leaders so that that service can reach you.
Thank you, Your Excellency Ambassador. By show of hands, I just want to know how many people are interested in asking questions. That way I know how much time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everyone who has
about 20, somebody who applied for identity card in 2019. I'm sorry I'd forgotten. Please go to 4th floor. 4th floor, we have cards for those who applied. If your name is not there, we have names of people who have applied but have issues to sort out. You go up there, they'll look for your name and they'll tell you whether your card is there or whether there's some more information you need to give. Otherwise, 2019, your card should be here. If it's not, then there's some information you need to provide. Thank you.
Okay, let me just, if you're going to ask a question, put your hand up, please, because I just want to make sure. We are going to start 1. You're going to be number 1, the gentleman. You're going to be number 2. The lady, you're going to be number 3. You're going to be number 4. We come from Mr. Kalima and Dr. Kauma. And then Ron Malai will be the last. So in that order.
Sir, this goes to the sir. My name is Brian. This goes for a question about the national IDs. We understand there's, like as you said, there are fake news going around. Most people that can travel to Uganda, they are worried about their properties. And since there's a lot of fake news going around, we want to get this from you, sir. Is it true that if you don't get a national ID, you will lose your property in Uganda? And secondly, according to the requirements of getting a national ID, I see there's an LC letter and a birth certificate and a Ugandan passport. So there are people that cannot get birth certificates, and they say it's number one requirement. So how can we do about that? And also about the LC letter. Some people cannot travel to Uganda with the letters. So is it that we cannot get a national ID because of those 2 requirements? And is it true they will lose their property because they cannot have a national ID? And another thing is, if I want to go to Uganda and I'm a US citizen, can I have a 1-year visa? Thank you.
I think it's a lot of questions, Ambassador. This how you answer those begin with a lot. Yeah, for the interest.
1 year visa, we don't issue that. And in very rare circumstances, do we issue 6 months. You are encouraged, but when you are in Uganda, you can you see you can apply and give reasons. For example, if you have some establishment that makes you move between here and Uganda, they will listen to you. But that one, I don't have the competence here at the embassy to do it. They can do it in Uganda. You can apply for that extension. Now, the other issue, now about IDs and properties, let me tell you this story. One of the issues we are dealing with. According to the Constitution of Uganda, a foreigner cannot buy Milo land, cannot own Milo land. Do you know that? If you are not a Ugandan, you cannot own Milo land. You can have the freehold, leasehold, the customary, but not Milo land, according to the Constitution. Now, we have a family whose father died, very rich family. One of the siblings was here in America. He became an American. He had denounced the Ugandan citizenship. He was an American. He would go to Uganda and come back. Now, something happened when it came to administration and dividing of the property of their late father. One sharp sibling told the administrator that one is not a Ugandan. He's an American. He's not part of us. And the case said, but this is our father. Yes, but you are not a Ugandan. To take off this mile and left by our father. So the division was made minus this guy. You see the importance of now your citizenship. You can be disowned by your own family. I mean, if they can do it like that. That is a case we have. Coming back, this identity card is important when you are transacting. You are opening a bank account, you want a telephone line, you are selling or buying land. It's very, very important. It's not true that without it, people steal your. But if they get to know that you don't have it, that is, you be candidate. So don't advertise yourself. So what does that mean? It means it's important that you get this document. As long as you have that relationship, you are better off getting that status of dual citizen and then getting these documents. They are very, very important. Some of you have been there and you know what I mean. It's very, very important. Even us who are there, often they say, last time I went to Uganda, I found one of my accounts had been blocked. He said, your account was closed. Yeah, they didn't have your identity card. And it took us 3 days to reactivate the account. So it is very important that you get that document. The services are up there on 4th floor. I have immigration officers there for any specific questions that I may not have on this. You all go there, they will give you the authentic information. Thank you.
Let's take 2-3 questions now.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you, everybody, for coming. My name is Gladys from Boston. I have 2 concerns. They are back home. So since you are our voice, maybe you can voice them back. One is that the rate at which the president of Uganda is borrowing money is real alarming and scary. He is borrowing a lot of money from international bodies and from international countries. This is really scary. Every time we hear he is borrowing money, he has got a grant, he has got a... So even last year, we do get credit cards. When they come to file, you say, oh my God, this is too much. I can't pay back this money. But he is really scary. Where is he going to leave Uganda? In the years to come, where is he going to leave our kids? Is Uganda going to be taken over by these people who are giving him money? And rumor has it, Chinese have already taken over Uganda. Most parts in Uganda are filled by Chinese. And these Chinese borrow money from them.
I want to ask you to summarize the questions.
Yeah, that's the question. At what rate is Uganda safe from borrowing money? 2 is about education system and health. These things are also scary. Yesterday, my friend in Namungari, Iganga district, sent me a video of a health center which looks like a pigsty, and people are being vaccinated. So is there any chance that he could improve on the health sector? And then the other one is on education. If they could be more practical than theoretical, our kids will be very okay in the future. Right now, you see the situation of COVID time, kids are home, they're all stuck home, they can't even do any practical thing. So if they, at least in schools, use the curriculum, put in more theoretical activities or lessons, that will be very good. Lastly, the issue of Chinese language being added in our curriculum, I think that's not really important to Ugandans. So, thank you.
Thank you. Let's get the 3. Yeah, I gave you the order of questions, so I think let's get another one too.
We have to be very, very brief.
Yeah, because of time, just be brief and precise.
Thank you. First question, my name is Amatu. First question, Ambassador. About the e-visas, Uganda is traveling to Uganda. Are we required to have e-visas before we fly? Because somebody was denied access to the airport. That's number 1. Number 2, are there any chances that the embassy, we have many organized Ugandans out there. Coming to UNAA is too expensive. I'm Canadian, but I moved here. It is very expensive for us to come to UNAA. Are there chances that organized small communities can have services? Number 3, I don't want to go political, but I want to know, we had millennium goals. We have 2040 goals. Where do you see Uganda in the next 50 years? Thank you.
Yeah, let's stay there. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'll just put a question in relation to what you are addressing. My question number 1, His Excellency, is how would you advise young people in equitable, effective, and self-protective participatory politics? And I'm asking this because we have seen what has been happening in the last elections, whereby the number of people, the highest number of people who were affected are the young people. And if I'm not mistaken, the young people make like 75% of our population in Uganda. The other question is, how has the government...
Can you repeat the question?
Question number one, how would you advise young people in equitable, effective, and self-protective participatory politics? Two, how has the government of Uganda contributed to the rise of young politicians? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. About borrowing, one thing I should have also told you that I'm an economist. Actually, my profession is economics. Now, borrowing. Do you know that that alarming thing is we're about something like 48% GDP, 48%, which you are calling alarming. Actually, you are not alone. Even others have, oh, you are borrowing too much. Do you know that America is at 150%? Are you aware? Are you aware that America's domestic debt is 150%? Now, as an economist, and the professor there would agree with me, it is not about how much you borrow. It is about how you borrow it, how you utilize that money you borrow. Now, I want to assure you, and here we will go into development economics. How do you invest this money you borrow? Now, for the Uganda government has identified that we need to put our infrastructure right. We need to put the infrastructure right so that people can easily move goods from one point to the other. And that infrastructure is not cheap. In fact, most of our borrowing has gone into infrastructure. That same infrastructure, when it is correct, that oil sector, which we are now nurturing to come up, and we start selling the oil when they are right, then do you know that we have, I had, this lady is one of those where I was hearing, I don't know whether she was at the World Bank demonstrating. I had those same things. Uganda is one of the most trusted borrower here. Don't laugh, because we pay. You don't know it, we pay. We have agreement with the World Bank and other financial vendors. Agreement, you are borrowing this, how do you pay? And we pay. Because if you don't pay, they will not lend you. And by the way, no country on earth is living on cash. Every country borrows, and that is economic. That's how you develop. You must borrow. You are here in America, you know it. You borrow, you live on credit. So do countries, especially. it's not about Museveni borrowing to harm the future generations. No. Do you know that? I don't know. You must. She has gone, and that's the problem. I say, let us listen to each other. And some of my friends from you, they don't want to listen. They are right. But I want to tell them, you can never be the only right. There are other people who are right. And if we can listen to each other, we will learn. We learn something. This borrowing is for a purpose. And if you don't even need to demonstrate, if it had reached that alarming rate, it is not anybody here would say, oh, don't blame them. No, they would not do it because you are bad borrower. And I want to tell you that every country is a borrower. If we were to say everybody bring back the money you owe, all countries would collapse, including the United States, immediately. Now, the Chinese, one of the engagements I have had with the think tanks here in America is about the Chinese. Oh, Chinese are doing this, Chinese are going to. Yes. It may as well be founded, but this is the catch. We have a lot of opportunities for investment. We have a lot of opportunities for trade. We have a lot of opportunities for business. As Uganda, we would be more happy that Americans take advantage of these opportunities than the Chinese, because we speak the same language. Official language here is English. Official language in Uganda is English. That would be the best. But because of that void, the Chinese have seen a chance. They have come to do business with us, and they are doing quite very well. And there is nobody, you cannot say, oh, they are coming. Do you know that when we make assessment, I don't know whether you know this saying, there is this saying that a hyena from your village eats you responsibly. Do you know that saying? Because if it comes from your village, it will have to make sure that it doesn't leave traces. Because if it leaves, they will come and hunt for it. And if it goes to the other neighboring village, it will scatter you. And that all the same, they will all have eaten you. So, who is the better hyena? We have been, these are matters of development. How have we been fair? Why is coffee, a farmer who grows coffee, why does he get $1 for 1 pound of coffee? And the final roaster here gets 100 times. Why? So, the people who want to feed on Africa are very many. It is our responsibility to say who does, how to put the rules. How do we do business with you? Who sets the prices? How much leverage do we have to influence the international economic system? That's where the reason is. It's not about Chinese. Chinese I've told the Americans here that if Chinese have found chance to do business with Africa, then it means Africa did something. So you Americans come and join us. Chinese have covered only 2% of the potential. 98% is still there. We want Americans. And you diaspora, help us as we identify those who can come and do business with us. Let's work with you. The question was asked at the beginning, what do you want? What do we want you to do? Yes, exactly that. Help us identify people who can come and do business in Africa. So that if the Chinese lose out, fine. We will now not need to go to study Chinese. Now, Chinese as a language, there is this thing you must think about people. China has come and China is here. It is not the old China. They are here. They are an operator in the international economic system. You either work with them or you go and bury yourself. So we have to work with them. And how do you work with them? You must understand them. Otherwise, why, if you say so, then I would want us to go and embrace Uganda, Ruto, if you can do away with this English. All these are foreign languages. Why Chinese are not English? Now, on the e-visa, yes, e-visa, we answered this yesterday, but maybe you were not there. The visa of Uganda now is you apply for it electronically. You go into the system, you apply, you pay, then an approval comes, maybe after half a day or 1 day. Once you get that approval, you are good to go. And your visa will be issued in a day. With that approval, before you would move from US and go and get your visa at the airport, that has changed. It was the last one. It was the last one. And by the way, it's not very complicated. We have had people who have called us from the airport. I'm here, they have refused me to board. I said, you go into the system and apply now. And they go, they apply, they get a reference. Then with that reference number, we can help them to fast track the application. And some of them have been able to fly. So it's as simple as that. It's not a very complicated matter. The last one is on services. Okay, for the Canadians, okay, where we are able, we can take the services to you, but certainly it's not something that I can give you a guarantee on. We have, even here, we have brought the services here. We have taken them elsewhere, but it's not a guarantee. The guarantee is in this where I am. And where we can do this, we can always do it. But that is the problem, because we operate on a budget, we must be able to reach you. Now, someone is saying, young people, yes, that is very true. 70% to 75% of our population are below 20 years, meaning that the youth we have to find jobs for the youth. We have to make sure that the youth have jobs job creation. And through, even through them, we have to make sure that they can keep their own jobs. Now, for the diaspora, we are looking at you as the diaspora dividend. You know, we have the democratic dividend, the diaspora dividend. We put all this together and make sure that, don't say that the youth have, well, it's a challenge every world has. It's a challenge. And we have got to do it. Nobody is going to bring God to put things on earth. We have to do them. There are a number of programs in Uganda that are targeting the youth. We don't have enough time now to go through them for you. But it is important that our youth look at themselves as participants. If you say we don't allow youth to participate, do you know how many youth are now in our parliament? Many. And I don't remember any youth that was refused to go into politics. No. In Uganda, there is that freedom. Everybody is free. Everybody is free. The problem with Noob came in with somebody who brought a rumor that, oh, you will not be, because you are 75, you are now in charge, therefore you should go and be in charge. Yeah, but they have to vote you. If you didn't get enough votes this time, next time try. But that is not the issue. The issue is that every Ugandan, we have to work very hard, because the challenges are many and they are not about Uganda alone. Even in this country where I am, there are challenges, formidable challenges, if we go to unlead them. Lastly, I want to assure you that the government of Uganda means well, and every Ugandan is planned for. Every Ugandan in the plan, we know that we have this threshold of youth, and this threshold of youth have to have economic activity. And that is why we are here appealing to you to come and do business so that we can create more jobs. Diaspora villages, we can establish them. Those things you are talking about, they can go and work there. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency Ambassador. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize because the room next to you, we've gone over 45 minutes into it, and I've been told this room has to be cleared now because we're driving the next program late, and as a trained officer, I just hate to be going 2 people at a time. So, but I really apologize for the 3 people that didn't get a chance to ask questions. But the ambassador is here. If you register the Uganda government, if it's about UNAA, the BOT people are here. But Your Excellency the Ambassador, on behalf of our community and Honorable Council Jack Ellis, on behalf of UNAA, Uganda Mathematical Association, myself especially, as a man from Kalanga, Assisi Islands, I really want to thank you for what you're doing for our country. I think the ambassador is the most successful person Uganda has ever had in Washington, D.C. for the last 30 years. Okay, we want to thank you in the delegation from Uganda at the same time for being here, and the UNAA members, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being so cooperative and very disciplined. I really appreciate that. But the next, I think, Mr. Gawa, you have something you want to tell the people here what's coming next, because since you're in charge. But my job is done, and my mission is over. Just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here and be with you. I ask that you when you're done tonight, tomorrow going home, or tonight going home, just be responsible. Do not drive, don't drink and drive. You are in the Midwest. This is a very restrictive area, very, it's not Boston. This is not Los Angeles or Washington, D.C. This is Cincinnati, Ohio, the most conservative place in America. So be very careful. I have to say that. I want to make sure we live with a good word and good heart. If I don't talk to you again, if I don't see you, I want to wish you a good day back home when you go home. I am here in Detroit, Michigan, and I'll be seeing you probably next year when I move to Washington, D.C. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Mr. Kaluya and myself, we want to thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Madam C. Thank you, Mike, for moderating this. It wasn't easy, but we managed to make it. The next session, I think, is going to be, if we follow the program, I think we have, we skipped the lunch, we were here. I think the next one is a non-profit working in Uganda. I don't know who is moderating that. And there is Senga coming up. I think Senga should be where they're going, but I don't know. Anyway, I extend my sincere to the ambassador for the good work she has done. I think most of us, what we are lacking as diasporans is to seek to know where to get the information. We always have these fightings between us, but this political forum is very important. That's when we get the answers. But when I look around, it's almost not even. Yeah, the attendance wasn't good. Anyway, thanks so much, members, for coming. Let's adjourn this meeting. I think there's forums going on. Thank you.
We all vaccinated. Get the shot, get the vaccine, get the vaccine.
We are the ladies.
1 minute.
And the ladies join us first. We want to have the balance.
Well, if you want to get something done, give it to a lady. All right. Come. Okay, ladies, we're going to sit down.
We can have that chair there.
You stay this side. Mama Jangu now with her. All right, guys, I'm taking a picture. Ready? My camera comes to
Sema wakakofira kajieko. Very uniform. Ngambo wakeru. Okay, good.
all right, I have other people's cameras here.
What of your camera?
I will, but it's a little too tight. Sure.
You're a public service.
All right. Oh, now I think you movie did. guys, I'm done. But you see that? Yeah, no fun. Yeah. Yeah, I want to be the people.
Then I have to take one.
I'll come and take one when you come. You just say you. All right.
So I didn't know that had changed. You know, everybody want to buy this gold mine.
You don't know?
What are you going to do?
Oh, yeah.
You all over the place. You are real Uganda. Okay.
Yeah. You want the person.
Oh, okay.
Guys, has anyone seen a wallet? Did anyone pick up a wallet? Oh, but then, but then, never will.
What are your comments?
Okay. Now, good luck on the board. Gentleman that spoke last.
They deal with a lot of mental patients. They also have streets, and they have